Greetings fellow Salt Ancestors, and welcome to another video on solo RPGs. I apologize, this video is airing a little bit late, and as you'll probably be able to hear, I'm still a bit congested. My family's been sick, so it's been hard to do a video, and I'm likely to sound even more off than usual. But I will try to make this video as interesting and painless as possible. So, to go back to Hiria, which is a solo journaling TTRPG by Peter Ejik, I believe, I apologize if I'm mispronouncing, in which you are basically trying to capture, create, rejoin a person that has escaped in the city of Hiria, which is described as a city that exists on all worlds of the multiverse, but is never quite the same. You may barely notice the changes when traveling to another version of Hiria, while in other cases the city may have changed beyond recognition. The city beyond the city, the sideways city, the city beyond the facade, backstage, the manifold. There are many names for the hidden ways between the aspects of Hiria, as they are aspects themselves. And so this game is basically about you having to find someone that is traveling to the different version of this city of Hiria. And the game here provides us with just a little bit of background, suggesting that most people just go about their lives in their version of the city that they're familiar with a couple people somehow slipping through versions and often being unable to return to their own version of the city, and a small group of people who have learned to traverse to different versions of the city at will, of which, of course, we are one of those people. This says that, while some travel the shadows, others may make any door open into specific aspect of area. Some use science, others have occult means to find their way to the manifolds. Many are members of the Traveling Society, an organization dedicated to sharing these methods of travel. So it's not like a whole lot of world building, but I found this like super evocative. It kind of reminded me of a fantasy novel I read also as a child, like as a teenager or whatever. It was The Great Book of Amber, I think, with like sort of the world changing, like being able to change the world and like move to different versions of the same places. So I like the idea of this. Of course, I also like the idea of, trying to find someone and track them through different versions of the city. It is a very simple game to play. It's actually a fairly small zine, which actually backed on Kickstarter as part of Zine Quest 2023. It's actually, I'll go through just showing you how to play and then you'll see, but basically the setup is that we create the quarry, the person we're looking for. We define our own background. We begin with the first iteration of the city, and then we sort of journal every iteration until either the quarry escapes or we catch up with them. So it's kind of cool that it has a set beginning and end. I will say as a whole, this game would play very well in PDF because there's not a lot of page flipping. However, I really do appreciate this tracker sheet that came with the physical version, and I will show you why right now. First of all, we have the quarry tracker, so if the quarry ever reaches the end, they escape. We'll never find them. If we reach the end, we found the quarry and we can end the game either way. And there's different prompts for like sort of how to close up the game after. And these three trackers here go into where we are, like which version of the city we're in. So we'll circle back to that in a minute. But first I want to show you quickly, first of all, creating your quarry. So you can roll an 8-sided dice. So this game relies on a 4-sided dice, an 8-sided dice, and a 20-sided dice. There's not much by way of resolution of encounter. I'll show that to you in a minute. These are basically just to get your prompts, and then you decide how the story goes. And it's very much like play to find out. Use the prompt, roll with it, figuratively, literally, whatever, and advance your story. So in this case, they suggest rolling a d8 so that we are referenced to one of these 8 prompts. So you might be looking for a former lover, or a lucrative bounty, a lost soul, long lost relative, forgotten god, and then you have specific prompts to like sort of get your imagination started as to why you're looking at them, who these people are, and begin your adventure. Then the game also comes with predefined quarries. If you don't want to create these characters, you can also use one of their predefined ones. And then rolling a d20, you get to answer 2 questions on background prompts for yourself. So I think in mine, I had one about a tattoo on my arm, which, you know, when did you get it? Was it depict? I actually had to do some sort of mystical map of the city, which is what I used to be able to switch from one version to another. Like it shows me where the shortcuts are, so to speak. I don't remember my second one because I really relied a lot on this prompt. But that's basically sort of gets you going on who you are, why you're doing what you do. Oh, here, you made a promise that you intend to keep and to whom. And in my case, it was related to finding my quarry. So that was pretty neat. Then we begin by building the city. And this time we will roll 3 times on the D20. So we roll the 2. Put my little marker on the piece. And then 13, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Here we go. It's probably not right, but whatever. I don't know why it's harder to count to 13 on camera, but we're just going to keep doing 13 again just to punish me extra hard. That's cool. So this gives us the 3 prompts to define the city that we're in right now. So this current version of Hiria, of this city, is a pious city with winding passages and dusty shop fronts that is carved in a glacier. So that's kind of neat. Okay, so we're carved in a glacier. Maybe, you know, the winding passages is to cut the winds that would otherwise just billow through. They say the dusty shop front. Maybe we switch that to like, you know, powdered snow to fit with the theme of the glacier. And pious, perhaps people are very religious. You know, cool if we're looking for a lost god, maybe the gods of summer. Or maybe we could say they all pray to a specific god and the one that's lost is running away. Whatever. So basically we would use these 3 prompts to give flavor to the city we're in, lead into why we're here, why we're looking for a quarry, where we're at. And then one that we're here, we would, at this time we would skip sort of the more gamey part because it's our first turn. We would roll once again 2d20 to get what they call an event, which is what's going on in the city right now, and traces, which is sort of what our quarry left behind for us. So 8 would be a fad or fashion is sweeping the city. Okay, cool. So in our usual snow-swept shop front, now displays a number of, I don't know, bright yellow clothing, which is unnatural and skimpy. We don't know why this matters, but maybe it would based on my quarry. At this point, I don't know. And then the traces is a folk song talking about their exploits. Well, see, that's interesting. So keeping up with the idea that maybe I'm looking for a lost god, maybe it is the god of summer, maybe all of a sudden everybody's showing like, you know, yellow clothing, they're expecting their return imminently, and they're singing of their exploit. And maybe to like tie into the next thing that I'm going to do, I could say like, as part of this song, they are talking about their travel to a mysterious and faraway place that, and this is where I could intro the next version of the city I'm going to travel to. So this would be sort of my first turn. Then I would shift to the next version of the city, which is where I would roll 1 4-sided die. And this time I got a 3. And according to this, if I got a 3, the quarry moved to a different version of the city than you thought. You won't find a direct trace from them, but perhaps an echo remains. Fill an extra section during the quarry track. Oh wait, sorry, no, that was a kill dice. Sorry, guys. If the dice is even, segment of the player track. If the result is odd, segment of the quarry track. There we go. So we just moved them 1. So I was reading the paragraph. That's sort of a thing. You are allowed to roll twice on the D4. And then based on the result, if the result matches your original roll, so in this case it did actually manage to roll 3 twice in a row, what would happen is that I would get the prompt I was just reading, which is that they actually went to a different version. So they actually moved twice on the quarry track, so they moved further away. So this is a bit of a pushy luck in that you can move markers twice, but it could backfire like it did in this case, that the quarry is that much further away. The other thing that this dice does is that it tells me how many basically steps I can move these markers. So basically it says 3 here, so I could move any of these markers up to 3 spaces. So I could say, okay, I'm going to travel to this time a prosperous town. It still has winding passages and dusty platform, but it's going to be without ends or bounds. So all of a sudden my glacier becomes sort of a giant, enormous sort of never-ending maybe plain of ice, and You know, it just winds upon itself and it just keeps circling around and around. And that's the city that I'm now in. And maybe that was the song that they were talking about, that, you know, this god traveled to this place that was basically a trap that had no beginning or end. And then I could roll for some prompt with regards to, again, what events is happening here and whether they got traces. Of course, in this case, you know, it would be more of an echo of a trace because I rolled double 3. That would be very, very bad. So keep doing that. I would roll a d4, which would give me whether I got closer, whether they got closer. That would impact my journal entry. Then I would move these markers to show what kind of city I'm in right now. Maybe I would move to a colorful city, you know. So you could also just move 1 3 times and really switch one aspect of it. But that's basically what it is. So it's a very simple, mechanically speaking. It is, again, one that thrives very much on the journaling. It is more about like creating a story in your head than actually resolving encounter or min-maxing, or, you know, it's more like creative play than, than, you know, dice rolling play, if I can put it this way. It's one that I really enjoy for its theme. I enjoy for its simplicity. I really like this little tracking system. It's neat. I apologize for the coughing in the mic. It is a neat little tracking system. I like the finite aspect of the game. It's easy to play in one sitting. It's not one that I would probably play, you know, over and over and over because, you know, there's only so many prompts in here. But it is one that is fun to revisit every now and then just because of the, I don't know, say, like the landscape that this game offers, sort of the sandbox that it gives, is one that I find really captures my imagination anyway, with regards to like the shifting city. You know, you go down in the alley and then all of a sudden you change continents, so to speak. It's something I really enjoy. Again, the prompts are very good, very evocative. They're well done. But there is still a lot that the player has to bring to the table. One thing that I would have liked more in this one is help creating maybe additional characters. Because, you know, at one point I think I was traveling and, oh, what was the prompt I got? I think it was sort of like a missent telegram or something. Anyway, I had it so that it was supposed to go to my quarry because I was following their footsteps, but then I came here, which was an indicator to me that I came to the wrong version of the city, but somebody else must have thought they would come here, and that's why this telegraph is here. But I'm like, oh, who's this person that sent this telegram? You know, like, it would have been cool to have a little bit more for peripheral prompts, perhaps, like to help flesh out the story a little bit more. I don't lack an imagination, but sometimes like a little bit of help on those fronts I found useful. But, you know, at this point, I'm just nitpicking. This game does what it means to do very well. It's not, it's simple, yet it's a very cool, as I mentioned, like sandbox, little fun place to play for a little bit, to dream of a story, of tracking down people and visiting a magical city. And if that sounds like your thing, I invite you to check it out. I will put the link to the game in the show notes as usual. Thank you and have a great day.